Hey, Joseph here. I'm a certified life coach, a published author, and a music artist. I post a lot of content related to spirituality and self-awareness and a lot of things in between that. So thank you for clicking on this particular video. Since you're here, this is one of 3 messages you'll receive from me wherever you are right now in this exact shirt. If you're not subscribed and this showed up in your recommendations and you clicked on it, if you understand it immediately, this is your confirmation. If you don't understand the message right away, sit with it, let it process. You will understand it later. And if you clicked on this video and realized, this ain't my cup of tea, this ain't it for me, then that just means we're not aligned, and that's okay. You are free to scroll past this video. Click off of it, please. But if you are subscribed, then you already know how this goes. Sometimes my videos will pop up for you, sometimes they won't, and that's just how the algorithm works. It's out of my hands. Even if you are subscribed, it doesn't guarantee that you'll see everything. This is message 3. Unlike the short form content from my TikTok and my Instagram, I'm going to take my time with this message, as I've done with all of the messages so far. We don't talk enough about what happens after an awakening. Everyone loves the glow up story, the dark night, the synchronicities, the breakthroughs, the healing. But then what's after that? What do we do once the light is on and once we see the distortion everywhere? Once clarity becomes our baseline? That's the part where we have the least preparation. We think that it's about conscious living, but really it's just surviving consciously. And that's its own kind of grind because it demands constant vigilance. You scan distortion, refuse to collapse, hold the paradox, tiptoe through language, and recenter your body through the churn. And that effort itself becomes a second kind of survival. Not only are you keeping yourself alive, but you're keeping your clarity alive as well. And yes, clarity keeps us afloat, but it also carries a weight. On one side is the pain of squeezing yourself into distorted systems, attaching just for the sake of belonging. The pain that is sharp and corrosive is the very reason we wake up. To go back into it would take us out faster than anything. It'll take us out faster than anything because it erodes the very clarity that sustains us. But then on the other side, there's the other side, the pain of holding your own line, not collapsing, but enduring the grating, the friction of being awake in a world that mostly isn't. And that hurts too, but it hurts differently. It sharpens you. And in that sharpening, there's joy because clarity itself is the life raft. But clarity also makes us default into roles we don't often prefer. The teacher, the lifeline, the guide to those who haven't accessed the teacher, the lifeline, and the guide within themselves. And the clarity we gain from this process naturally exposes what others haven't said out loud yet. And sometimes it inspires, and then sometimes it intimidates. Either way, it jolts your nervous system. And therefore you tiptoe not to hide your truth, but to test whether it can be received. And that tiptoeing adds its own layer of exhaustion. The real culprit here in the journey is that we're up against the collective container or the systems governing our current way of life. Everything, even the language that we speak, feels pre-designed to compress us back into distortion. These systems predate us, which means at the end of the day, none of this is personal, but it's systemic. And that makes the weight heavier. Everyone is exhausted, even those operating in distortion. Perception is flipped, clarity is often mistaken for distortion, and distortion for clarity. And that means true recognition is rare, and the slim chance of it can be draining in and of itself. So we end up in our own bubbles, isolated but stabilized. It's the only solid ground we have. But it's also the place we long to be met. And the waiting for that clean reflection can feel trickster-like, like being stuck in an endless slow dance. This is where all the spiritual platitudes fall short. Ignorance is bliss, they say, but it doesn't hold water here. Ignorance is what forces us to grind through consciousness, because once we've seen distortion, we can't unsee it. True bliss is living where clarity doesn't feel like labor, living without having to maneuver so much, living where vigilance softens into effortless presence. And most spiritual frameworks stop short of this. They walk us to awakening and maybe even nirvana, but they rarely answer the real question, which is, what then? What happens after the moment of clarity, when we still need to eat, breathe, pay bills, be met cleanly in a distorted world? That gap leaves us complete inside, but incomplete outside. Lately, I've been using the phrase in-between space holder, field anchor, and then some of you may call this the limbo state, the waiting room, the liminal space. Every financial, relational, or material opportunity feels like it's being eclipsed by forces beyond your logic. A dream that's not being fully realized. But under these conditions, a flexible eclipse is a better name for this. It's not that nothing's moving, it's that everything is moving, but we can't always tell distortion from alignment in whatever is showing up. An eclipse doesn't erase the sun. It shifts what's visible. Calling it flexible honors the flux, the openings, the closings, the shadows moving. It has nothing to do with relief arriving on a timeline, and more to do with cultivating ways to stand inside the paradox here. Sometimes that paradox means recognizing aligned misalignment, knowing we are in the exact place we don't want to be, while also knowing it's still aligned for us right now. That's advanced territory, and it's exhausting. This is what many of us long for right now. Not more awakening, not more vigilance, not more conscious survival. We long for simple living. If we have to be overly conscious of something, we're not truly living. Living is when presence becomes effortless. Living is when clarity is so embodied to the extent that it doesn't need management. Living is when bliss is not ignorance, it's ease. That's the clean meeting we're really calling for, not just with other people, but with life itself. So we circle back to the question. You had a spiritual awakening, you're healed, now what? Now we live in the paradox. We decode distortion in real time. We hold clarity even when it costs us. We stand by for resonance through whatever or whoever shows up in our awareness without collapsing into binaries. We accept that the eclipse is flexible, but it's not final. In short, we keep insisting not on belonging to distortion, but on carving a space where living can finally be what it's always meant to be, effortless, embodied, and free. Keep thanking the currents in your life for building the capacity to hold the paradox without resisting or abandoning yourselves in the process. That's where the bliss is. Thank you for making it to this video, for receiving the message. And again, my name is Joseph. If one or all three of these messages in this shirt today have enlightened you, expanded your awareness, or opened up your curiosity, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, share, and start those discussions within your own bubble, within your own space. Because nothing changes if nothing changes. That's the whole point of having your logic challenge. That's the whole point of why we are all here. To expand, to evolve, to grow beyond our limits, our perceived limits. You can also explore my other resources through the link that's in the caption. But in the meantime and in between time, Be kind to yourselves, be gentle with yourselves, and make the best of this right now moment and the right now moments to come.